My name is Taylor Brooks, and I'm 22 years old. I just wrapped up my junior year at the University of Sioux Falls, crawling through digital marketing finals on fumes, and focused dreaming of landing a job at a sharp agency. The bus ride back to Sioux Falls buzzed with excitement home, meant Dad's grill smoke, Mom's endless stories, and me bragging about my internship. I even bought her a silver keychain engraved World's Best Mom. But when the bus pulled up to 1587 Riverbend Lane that Friday night, dead wrong. No cars in the driveway. Bare windows. A red sold sign stabbed into the yard like a warning. I stumbled onto the porch, heart pounding. Trash bags stacked sloppy, taped over with Dad's scrawl, Taylor's stuff. Taylor's books. Taylor's clothes. Overflowing with hoodies and notebooks like my whole life was junk mail. A note flapping on the door read, "Handle it, don't contact us. Dad." No warning. No mercy. I called him, voice shaking. "Dad, the house." My things dumped outside. He sighed, calm as weather. "Closed quick. Good deal. We moved to Denver." "Denver. You just left me. You're grown now, Taylor. Handle it. We couldn't wait for your break." His chill cut deeper than the sign. Years of barbecues, laughter, roots gone in 2 words. Handle it. I dragged a bag across the lawn, telling myself to harden up. They made their choice. Now it's my turn. Before I continue, share with me, what city are you in right now and what time is it there? I'd love to see how far this story reaches. Drop it in the comments. 3 hours later, phone dead from failed calls. My roommate was offline, halfway to Chicago for a family trip. Study group contacts didn't answer, some buried in summer internships, others back in hometowns. My network, tied to late-night study halls, unraveled under the strain. I'd poured everything into marketing classes, letting Sioux Falls ties fade. One option left Jasmine Riley, my freshman dorm mate who'd traded lectures for freelance design gigs. Her line clicked after 2 rings, voice sharp. "Taylor, you sound wrecked. What's up?" I ran through it fast. "The house sold, my stuff bagged, Dad, sharp cut." She listened, then spoke steady. "Pack what fits and get here. My roommate's in Minneapolis job hunting, spare bed's yours for a week. We'll sort it one step at a time. You're tougher than this mess, Taylor, lean in." Her words steadied me. I sorted the bags that afternoon, keeping what mattered. Old family photos from summer hikes went curbside along with crumpled high school debate notes. I saved my laptop with half-done ad pitches, marketing binders, a week's clothes, and Grandma's silver locket. The hardest was leaving the nightstand Dad had patched together where I'd sketched my first logo ideas. It sat by the road, useless under a dim sky. As Jasmine's car pulled up that evening, I opened my phone and cleared every tie. I deleted my father, Gregory Ellis's number, then my mother, Karen Ellis's line, and Aunt Linda's, who'd always played mediator. No trace remained of the pair who'd raised and dropped me. Jasmine glanced as I swiped the last one. "You good?" "Their move," I said, voice firm. "My turn." I stayed at Jasmine's for a month, building a new rhythm. I landed shifts at a downtown bistro, serving burgers and brews to early festival crowds. Sioux Falls was prepping its community bash streets, lined with banners, locals hyping craft stalls and live bands. For me, it sharpened the solitude. Every table of families laughing over drinks highlighted my makeshift setup, crashing on Jasmine's couch, grinding coursework between shifts. The challenge wasn't the long hours or thin tips. My mind kept circling one puzzle: what makes someone erase their kid without a word? I filled gaps with side gigs, drafting social posts for a local bakery during downtime, my laptop, the only steady anchor. Jasmine caught me at it one night, sliding a coffee over. "You're pushing too hard," she said. "Ease up." "No room for that," I replied, editing a post. "No safety net now." She didn't push, but her pause lingered. "People don't vanish for nothing, maybe their reasons tangled." "Tangled," I snapped, sharper than meant. "A text takes 10 seconds before you gut someone's base." Her point stuck anyway. I poked through public records on a slow shift, searching for Gregory and Karen Ellis in Denver. No hits. No trace of their so-called reset. Each blank search tightened the knot. A week into the bistro grind, my university email pinged with a message from the academic office. A professor had flagged my campaign project for early degree consideration, suggesting a meeting to discuss accelerated options. The name attached to Dr. Ethan Ward felt like a lifeline, a chance to outrun the mess. I saved the email planning to reply after my shift, my focus split between pouring drinks and mapping next steps. 3 months later, when I settled into my studio, I was carving out a new rhythm in Sioux Falls. The place was a shoebox creaky bed wobbly desk, just enough room for my laptop and a coffee mug. Freelance marketing gigs kept me going. Social posts for a local gym, email campaigns for a bookstore, ad copy for a craft brewery. I built my portfolio on Upwork, chasing 5-star reviews to lock in steady clients. Each job covered rent and tuition, inching me closer to my marketing degree. I hadn't quit the bistro, still slinging drinks through festival season. Logan Hayes, my coworker, who always had the latest local buzz, shifted everything one slow afternoon. He leaned over the counter, scrolling LinkedIn, and paused. "Yo, Taylor, your dad's in Denver, right?" I nodded, wiping a glass. "Check this," he said, flipping his phone. A Sioux Falls Neighborhood Alliance post 2 weeks old showed a community meeting recap. In the photo, third row, Gregory stood out, same worn jacket, nodding with locals. My hand froze on the glass. He swore they'd left months ago. Logan zoomed in the image, sharpening. "That's him." "Yeah, matches your rundown." I stared, pulse spiking. Gregory was here mingling while I was buried in finals. He'd had weeks to clue me in, not ditch my life roadside. "I need a sec," I told Logan, stepping out back with my phone. I pulled Gregory's number from the old group chat and dialed, jaw tight. He answered, fast, voice guarded. "Taylor. You set." "You lied again," I said flat. "You were at that Alliance meet 2 weeks back, not Denver." Silence hung heavy. "Doesn't change the plan," he said. "Plan you stayed local, shaking hands while you cut me out cold." My voice edged up. "You had time to warn me, not trash my roots." "Ease off, Taylor. You're built for this. Landed running, didn't you?" The shrug stung sharp. "Landed, scrambling after you sold my home blind. We gave you wing solos, your game. Cut ties, you soar." "Soar," I scoffed thin. "You call abandoning your kid wings. We paid your way school rent, food. Debt's done." His tone was cold. "Most split at 18. You got extra." "Extra. You erased me, Gregory. I trusted you, ran home, got bagged." My voice broke raw. "You didn't leave, you planned it clean. World's tough. Taylor, adapt fast. Winners do." His words snapped the last thread. "Right," I said low. "World's tough, you included, so we're done. No calls, no games." "What's that?" "I'm out. You wanted solo?" "Got it. Clean break, Gregory. Done." He scoffed. "Kid stuff." The line cut off. I didn't block him again, let him sit in the quiet. Back at the studio, I leaned harder into my degree. Dr. Ethan Ward, my marketing professor, called me into his office after grading my latest ad project. "Ms. Brooks," he said, "this brewery campaign's tight, agency level. Ever considered fast-tracking your degree?" I blinked, caught off guard. He outlined it: overload courses, stack summer credits, graduate early. "You've got the drive," he added. "Could land an agency gig next year." His pitch clicked. I spent nights mapping a plan, doubling courses, syncing freelance jobs to cover tuition jumps, eyeing Sioux Falls agencies for post-grad. Graduating early meant building something they couldn't touch. I emailed Dr. Ward my course schedule that weekend, locking in extra classes. He replied, "Solid, run with it." The routine held me steady. Freelance nights, bistro days, coursework in stolen hours. Logan kept things light at work, tossing quips about festival chaos or local gossip. Jasmine stopped by once, dropping a spare lamp for my bare studio, her design gigs keeping her booked. The city's festival buzz grew louder, banners hyping a weekend showcase, but I stayed locked in, building my way out. Then late one night, my phone pinged with a LinkedIn DM from Karen. Her profile was sparse, just an old headshot. The message was short. Trouble hit. Can we talk? I stared, thumb hovering. She'd stayed silent for months backing Gregory's move, and now this, a thin plea with no weight. My jaw tightened, trust long gone. I didn't reply, but the message burned. What trouble broke their wall after all this? Deech! That night, I typed a cold reply to Karen's message on my laptop, fingers steady. Sort it yourself, I wrote. Then hit send. I blocked her LinkedIn profile before she could respond, shutting down any chance of a follow-up. Her number stayed deleted from my phone, a line I'd drawn months ago. No room for their excuses now. The next day, I met Jasmine at a downtown coffee shop, the air thick with espresso and chatter. She slid into the booth, laptop open, and cut to the chase. Got a lead for you, she said, sipping her drink. Local startups hiring a marketing consultant, social media email campaigns, solid budget. They're on Upwork. Pitch sharp and move fast. They don't wait. I jotted the details, nodding. Thanks, Jasmine. I'll hit them tonight. She flashed a quick grin, already typing a client email. All business, no fluff, exactly what I needed. The lead was a game changer. I'd been grinding freelance gigs, posts for a gym copy for a brewery, but this startup job could open doors to bigger clients. Back at my studio, I crafted a proposal, sharpening my Upwork profile with recent projects. Each click felt like stacking bricks for a new foundation, one they couldn't touch. My inbox pinged later that week with an email from Caleb. His tone was sharp, accusing. You're stirring trouble, Taylor. Cutting us off wasn't enough now. You're trashing us to anyone who'll listen. The words hit like a jab, claiming I'd spread lies about the family. I hadn't. My circle was tight. Jasmine, a few classmates, no one else. His email felt like a calculated move, twisting the story to paint me as the problem. I archived it without replying, letting the silence widen the gap. By Friday, I'd signed a lease on a one-bedroom apartment off Phillips Avenue. It was basic, small balcony, plain walls, enough space for a desk and my laptop. The studio's cramped walls had worn me down. This place was a step up. I moved in over the weekend, carrying boxes alone, setting up a workspace with a thrift store lamp and my marketing binders. Standing in the quiet living room, I felt a steady control, like I'd claimed a corner of Sioux Falls for myself. No one else's name on the papers, no debts to them. School kept me grounded. I was deep into extra courses, building on Dr. Ward's plan to graduate early. Mornings went to marketing modules, case studies, campaign drafts, while nights were for freelance deadlines. The startup lead came through after a tight pitch, landing me a 3-month contract for their social media strategy. The workload was heavy, but it drove me forward, each task a piece of something solid. Jasmine texted a few days later to check on the job lead. Landed it, I replied, sending a screenshot of the contract. She shot back a thumbs up and a note, crush it. Her focus stayed sharp, no soft words, just the push I wanted. I leaned into the grind, juggling bistro shifts, freelance work, and coursework, my days a tight grid of priorities. Caleb's email lingered, though. His claim I was trashing them didn't add up like a move to shift blame. It sharpened my focus. They were hiding something, and I needed to know what. Karen's sudden outreach, Caleb's accusation, it all pointed to cracks in their plan. That evening, I opened my laptop and started searching. Public records on Gregory and Karen in Denver had been empty before, but I dug deeper, pulling up property listings and business registries. A faint lead surfaced, an LLC filing tied to Gregory's email, linked to a Denver real estate venture. It was thin, but enough to raise questions. What deal were they chasing, and why cut me out to run it? When I freelance full-time, my nights were spent digging into Denver's real estate records from my apartment desk. The Colorado market was red-hot, condos flipping fast in the mountains. I pulled up a public database and found a lead, an LLC tied to Gregory and Karen, registered to a Denver address. Cross-referencing property sales, I spotted their game, a 600,000 condo flipped in under a month, listed as a retirement investment for seniors. The pattern screamed scam buy low hype to older buyers sell high pocket the difference. Forum posts from a retiree group flagged similar deals, their savings drained by slick pitches. My stomach turned, but the pieces fit their sudden move, the clean cut, all to chase this hustle. The next morning, my inbox showed a new email, but the sender's address was off, my university account hijacked. The message sent to my professors and classmates claimed I'd plagiarized my latest campaign project. It was signed with my name, but the tone wasn't mine, too sharp and sloppy. Caleb's hand was all over it. He'd already tried pinning me as the family troublemaker, and now this, a hack to smear me and protect their scheme. I reset my passwords, reported the breach to IT, and saved screenshots of the email's metadata tying it to an IP he'd likely used. I found Karen's number from the old group chat and called, my voice steady. "You're covering for a scam," I said, skipping any greeting. "That condo flip in Denver bilking seniors, real noble." She paused, then deflected. "You're too independent for this. Taylor, why dig into our business?" "Independent," I snapped. "You sold my home, left me with bags, and now you're dodging. That's not independence, it's your exit strategy." She stammered no real answer. "You're in too deep, Karen. Own it." I hung up, her weak excuses fading. No point dragging it out, they'd built their mess. My phone lit up that afternoon with a flood of calls and emails, all unknown numbers and throwaway accounts, likely Caleb's doing. Messages piled in, accusing me of stirring drama or demanding I back off. I blocked each one methodically, my notifications a blur of deleted alerts. The chaos didn't shake me, it felt like proof they were rattled. Shutting them out brought a cold satisfaction, like locking a door on a storm. I wasn't their cleanup crew, and I wouldn't be their scapegoat. I kept my focus on work and school. The startup contract from Jasmine's lead was rolling, my social media campaigns pulling strong engagement. Between client revisions and marketing classes, I carved out hours to refine my portfolio, eyeing agency roles post-graduation. Sioux Falls's festival season was winding down, the streets quieter, but my grind stayed steady. Each deliverable, each grade was another step away from their shadow. Late one afternoon, I was crossing campus to submit a project when a woman approached, her badge catching the light. "Agent Brooke Finley, FBI," she said, extending a hand. "We've been tracking a real estate scam tied to Denver. Your name came up in our files." My pulse spiked, but her tone was calm, professional. "Can we talk?" I nodded, gripping my laptop bag, questions already forming about what she'd uncovered and how deep this went. Between a major project, I met Finley at a quiet diner off campus, her badge tucked away. She leaned forward, voice steady. "We're building a case on the Denver real estate scam. Your name came up in a hacked email, plagiarism claims. Got an alibi?" I nodded, pulling my laptop to show timestamps on my campaign project emails with professors, and IT's breach report tying the hack to Caleb's IP. Finley scanned the files, jotting notes. "Solid," she said. "We'll need these for the investigation. Can you send them over?" I agreed, emailing the documents that night, my hands steady on the keys. Weeks later, Finley called with an update. Caleb had reached out to the FBI offering to testify. He'd admitted to the email hack, claiming he was protecting Gregory and Karen's operation. His voice cracked in a recorded statement Finley shared, heavy with regret. "I got caught in their mess. Taylor, I didn't mean to drag you down." I pushed back, keeping my tone flat. "You chose their side, Caleb. Actions stick." He offered no defense, just a quiet agreement to cooperate fully. His testimony laid out their scam targeting seniors with overpriced condos, faking retirement dreams. It was enough to close the family chapter, no reconciliation needed. By spring, the case wrapped. Gregory and Karen faced trial in Colorado, landing 8 years each in state penitentiary for fraud, plus heavy fines to cover victims' losses. Finley sent a brief email confirming the verdict, no details beyond the sentence. I read it once, then archived it, feeling no pull to linger. Their consequences were theirs, not mine to carry. I pushed harder into my own path. Finals were brutal, but I'd stacked enough credits to graduate early, walking the stage in Sioux Falls that summer. Dr. Ward shook my hand at the ceremony, his nod sharp. "You earned this, Brooks agencies are waiting." His words stuck as I polished my portfolio targeting marketing firms in the city. A Sioux Falls agency, Pinnacle Marketing, called me in for an interview days after graduation. I pitched my startup campaigns, leaning on the Upwork gigs I'd nailed. They offered me a junior strategist role on the spot, full-time, with a desk in their downtown office. The job was a grind, but I thrived in it. I spent days crafting ad copy, analyzing metrics, and pitching clients, my nights free of campus deadlines. The agency's open plan office buzzed with energy, whiteboards scrawled with ideas, coffee runs fueling late sessions. My first project was a rebrand for a local brewery, my mock-ups earning a nod from the senior team. Each win built momentum, my name gaining weight in team meetings. Caleb's testimony and the trial faded from my focus. I'd blocked their numbers long ago, and no new messages came. The silence held, letting me build without their shadow. 2 years later, I was climbing the ranks at Pinnacle, leading smaller campaigns and eyeing a bigger role, each step a quiet proof I'd outrun their chaos. 2 years after the verdict, I was leading a team at Pinnacle Marketing, running a campaign for a Sioux Falls tech startup. The agency's office buzzed with tight deadlines, my desk stacked with analytics reports, client briefs, and mock-ups for a new app launch. I pitched strategies in boardrooms, my voice steady as I broke down conversion funnels and ad spend. The team leaned on me to set the pace, and I delivered, landing a 20% spike in user signups by tweaking social ads. Late nights at the office felt alive, every metric a step further from the past. On a quiet morning, I checked Denver records for a client's property research and stumbled on a filing Gregory and Karen's LLC had filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Their condo, the one tied to their scam, was gone, seized to cover debts from the trial's fines. Public notices showed their assets liquidated, leaving them with nothing but the fallout of their choices. The discovery landed cold, no surprise, just a confirmation they'd burned their own bridge. My phone started ringing that week, 32 calls in an hour by the 5th year since I'd cut contact. Unknown numbers flooded my voicemail, Gregory's voice heavy, asking for a loan to start over. Karen followed, her tone brittle, saying they'd lost everything and needed help. Caleb's message came last, quieter, claiming he'd tried to make things right. I let each one play their words, a mix of desperation and blame, no apologies. "You're doing well," Taylor Karen said. "Can't you spare something for family?" I deleted the messages, their voices fading into static. The calls kept coming, emails too, piling up from throwaway accounts. I blocked them one by one, my inbox a clean slate by evening. The shift in power was clear. They'd once left me with bags and a note. Now, they were the ones begging. I felt no guilt, only a sharp clarity. Their mess wasn't my burden, and I wouldn't carry it. Work stayed my focus. The startup campaign wrapped with a client presentation, my team's deck earning a signed contract extension. I trained a new hire, walked them through A/B testing, and prepped for a pitch to a retail chain. Sioux Falls's downtown hummed outside my window, the Big Sioux River steady, as I built my life block by block. The agency promoted me to senior strategist, my name on the door of a small office, a marker of ground I'd claimed. I didn't reach out to Gregory, Karen, or Caleb. No calls, no emails, no softening. Their pleas didn't pull me back. They were a closed chapter, their consequences sealed. Late that night, I opened my laptop to draft a final reply, my fingers hovering over the keys, ready to cut the last thread. Looking back on the journey, I sat at my desk, the Sioux Falls skyline sharp through the agency window. I opened my laptop and typed a final reply to the flood of messages from Gregory, Karen, and Caleb. "Don't contact me, handle it." I hit send, then blocked their numbers and emails for good, wiping every trace of their accounts from my inbox. The screen went quiet, a clean break from their reach. Word trickled in through public records and Denver court filings. Gregory and Karen were out of prison, but scraping by holed up in a rundown motel, debts piling from their Chapter 7 fallout. Caleb cut loose from the family's schemes, bounced between odd jobs, his resume stained by the trial's shadow. Their lives unraveled: motel rooms, empty wallets, no leverage left. I didn't dig deeper. Their consequences spoke loud enough. The path from that first shock, finding my home, sold bags packed, and a note saying, "Handle it," to leading a team at Pinnacle Marketing was my own. I'd started with nothing but a dorm friend's couch, clawing through bistro shifts and freelance gigs. Each late night, each campaign pitch built a life they couldn't touch. Now I ran client meetings, my strategies driving six-figure deals for Sioux Falls startups. The agency's open plan office, with its hum of ideas and coffee runs, was my ground earned through every choice to keep moving. The biggest lesson hit clear: toxic family doesn't define you. Setting boundaries, blocking calls, saying no, building my own path protected my future. I learned to value myself, not their version of who I should be. Cutting them off wasn't just survival, it was choosing me, my goals, my peace. That clarity drove every step, from renting my first apartment to landing a senior strategist role. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. Share your story below. Have you ever had to cut ties to move forward?